If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
Tom Brady retiring. This caught me a little bit by surprise. It always said 45.
If I was at 70% Tom Brady's coming back to the NFL at some point last week, I am now 80%.
Who else could have forced Tom Brady to retire? I'm not saying that's the case, but they're reporting that he was forced. His dad, his mom, sisters.
Rob Gronkowski has said he thinks there's a chance Tom Brady comes back. And my ears pricked up, right? And then Steve Young said this.
I believe he's retired, but he's retired from Tampa. He's retired from New England. He's retired from every team in the league but one.
San Francisco.
That is a return to his roots in San Mateo and Sarah High School. All I'm saying is I'm not willing to talk to you guys in 6 months, sitting out there knowing that there is something that's possible, albeit remote, that he would end up in San Francisco.
Somewhere Jimmy G's going, you gotta be kidding me. Again?
After his comments a week ago where he said, I'm going to kind of see how things go. You never say never. I told you Brady's not retired. He's not talking like a guy who's retired. He's talking like a guy that's taking some time off. Now, after the controversy of the last week in which Brady's status was hotly debated, you would think Brady, if he was really retired, would go on the podcast last night and put it to bed. Instead, this was what we got.
I'm super content and happy with how I feel in my decision. All you can do is take it day by day. Nothing's promised for us. I'm going to do things that I really enjoy and spend time with people that I really enjoy spending time with. So the future is bright. I look forward to the opportunities that are ahead. And I look forward to speaking with everyone again next year.
Even Joe Montana, right, who said he thinks Brady's crazy to retire, that he doesn't think Brady's done, right? With that in mind, what do you hear when you listen to Brady?
I hear a guy who's wrestling with it. And I think, retirement is a difficult decision for a lot of players to come to. And this is a guy that's played at a high level for a long time. Just had a 5,000-yard passing season, right? He's not done. And it's possible he wants to keep playing. I mean, Steve Young's theory is interesting.
That's Tom Brady telling you, yeah, I want to come back and play. Because if he was really done and he wanted to put it to bed, he would have said, listen, Jim, I get it. I mean, I said what I said last week because I just don't want to look bad. But look, I'm done. I'm not playing again. I'm finished. I'm happy with my decision. I'm done. Instead, it's I'm happy where I'm at and I'm taking it day to day. That is not, I have finished. I have played my last down in the National Football League. Brady is going to come back.
He needs something to do. It's great to take your kids to school and spend more time with your family, but when you're that good for that long, he's going to need something to satisfy him, and it may be football in a year. So I think what Steve Young said really makes a lot of sense to me.
It took me by surprise as well, because usually he's so clinical about his decision-making. And to play at the level that he did, I mean, he's walking away for the right reasons as a human. He's not walking away for the right reasons as a player, because he is not diminished at all. He said, I'll play until I suck. Well, he doesn't suck. No. It's still in the back of his mind. I'm sure that I can still do this at a high level. I'm walking away for my wife, for my kids, to be away from it and devote myself more there. Again, nobody's ever going to argue with those being legitimate and laudable reasons. But I wonder how somebody as competitive as that, who always looks for the next chip to knock off his own shoulder, will process life after football.
He's coming back at some point, right? He's considering this comeback, and whether it's with Tampa in the beginning of the season, whether this is, hey, I'm going to wait for another team to approach me as the season starts and kind of moves on. But I do think he's contemplating. I think that he, for whatever reason, has left this door open. And I'll be honest with you, I like it. I mean, I'm here for it. I've become a fanboy, right? So I'm excited that he would even consider it. And I get that he's comfortable in his decision and all the nice things that he said. But ultimately, he has not closed the door, in my opinion. And so I hold on to hope that we'll see him come back.
You're going to always feel that you can play, and you're going to miss because you've been so geared to do this for basically your whole adult life.
Yep.
I mean, Tom Brady is about to be 45.
Yep.
So his 23rd year. So he would have done this basically the equivalent of his adult life since he's been 21. This is what he's been doing. So
Shannon Sharp. the tea leaves are strongly suggesting will play next year.
Especially when you just led the league in everything. First 17-game season ever. You led the league in attempts. You had a pass-happy offense, in yards, in touchdowns. You almost made it back to the NFC Championship game.
I wonder if he's going to be able to have it stick, retirement, because he left the door cracked. Julian Edelman said yesterday when I talked to him, it wouldn't surprise him if he came back. And that, to me, would be the next chip, Doug.
Yeah.
People say I can't come back after a year off. Well, I can.
Yeah, what did you make of that? Because he did seem to kind of walk it back with Jim Gray and say, never say never to a return. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know. I never took him for someone who would retire and then come back. But like you said, maybe that could be it. That is the incentive for him.
I think that that never say never to me was an announcement of I'm open to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to believe that GMs and coaches and team owners are going to say, should we talk to Brady?
Right.
Should we have him as a guy? I mean, wherever he goes, the team instantly will become a contender.
Yeah.
He's a great clue supplier. He's leaving the door open. Now, it would have to be the right situation, but what he's doing in his retirement was, all right, I talked with my family. Giselle has wanted me to retire for a while, so I'm retiring now. Let's see how things go for 6 months. I'm going to be around my family for a while. And then if the itch comes back and a team needs me and I really want to play because I miss the competition, because Brady clearly, competition-wise, is not ready to retire. He thinks I'm going to go in and it's going to be me versus LeBron and TB12 and all these other things. No, nothing's going to replace the football field. So he's going to retire for 6 months, and then if the decision is right, he'll come back and play.
One of the things that Brady may be thinking about is that if he continues to play, he doesn't want to continue to play in Tampa.
Right.
That they've gone about as far as they can go with that one, to use a Broadway show tune line. And that, between Chris Godwin is going to be a free agent and a whole bunch of other guys, that's not a team that is ready-made to win a championship the way that it was. How would/could all of that work if, in his mind, he's thinking, I'd like to play, but this is not the place?
Well, the first step would be to say you're retiring. So check.
Right.
So now Tampa knows it has to go replace you. So once they do, then, if you decide you want to come back, you're in a better spot because the Buccaneers aren't going to say, if let's say the Buccaneers trade for Deshaun Watson, right? They're not going to then, and Tom Brady says he wants to come back. They're not going to just sort of say, oh, well, Tom, you can't leave. We need you, because they've already replaced him. So at that point, you could be in a position where you could force a trade, or you could force the Bucs to release you. They're going to have to do something with the contract anyway to get under the cap, whether it's just what Breeze did last year before retiring, knock all the salary down to bonuses. They're probably going to have to wait till after June 1st to release him or put him on the reserve retired list. So it might not be like a midseason comeback. It could be something that happens in June or July or August.
Yeah.
So, I think if the theory is correct that he wants to keep playing, just not in Tampa, then the first step would be to say, I'm retired. And then a few weeks later, after Tampa has found its next option, change your mind.
What he brings with him is a force of, I'm going to kind of take over a lot here.
Right.
So there's a lot that comes with Tom Brady, too, I think, which Bruce Arians probably experienced. It'll be fascinating to see how that franchise does in the absence of Brady.
Kyle Trask.
Are they going to revert to a 6-win team, a 7-win team, without the culture that he brought with him?
Brady, I've always felt, is very calculated in the things he says. Also not meant to be a negative. It's just his personality. Your buddy Peyton Manning, I think, is the same way.
Absolutely.
Peyton doesn't ever say anything by accident.
Never.
Right? That's you're very careful because they're cognizant of the power of their words. So when Brady refuses to when the question is asked about his retirement, he could very easily say, Jim, what part of I'm retired did I not make clear? Like, I'm done. It's been a great career. I'm moving on. But he doesn't say that. He continues to say, well, we take it day by day and all of that stuff.
Judging by what he has said over the course of the past 2 weeks. I'm never saying never. I can still come back. I've retired for now. We'll see what happens after I'm around my family for 6 months, and then the fall comes and maybe the urge is there and things work. I'm 80% that he comes back. And he could come back with that kind of forward thinking, hey, I'll play this year for the Colts, then I'm going to sit out. Hey, guess what? Next year I'm playing for the Dolphins because they have a chance, and I'm going to do this till I'm 50 years old. That's what I'm thinking Brady is looking at right now.
And there's a template for this, and I'll make it Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Brett Favre did this exactly. When Brett Favre was leaving Green Bay, he really wanted to go to Minnesota. There was no earthly way the Packers were going to trade him within their division. So he played a year for the Jets and played well.
Yeah.
And then retired, knowing that the Jets would make other arrangements at quarterback, which they did. They traded up to take Mark Sanchez high in the first round. And then when Favre calls them up and says, actually, I think I'm going to continue playing, they have no choice but to release him. Exactly. And he gets to go exactly where he wanted to go, which was Minnesota in the first place. So I'm not saying that's definitively what Brady is doing, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I would love it, man. If he wants to keep playing wherever you want to play, I think Indy might be open. I'm not saying you should. I'm not
Could
saying
you imagine that?
But boy,
the history with him and Indy, I mean, up to and not only all the great games with him against Peyton, but up to and including the Deflategate thing. Like, he couldn't go to Indianapolis.
That'd probably be tough. That'd be a tough stretch. But for a guy like me who's pulling for it, I can dream.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.